and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Digital Access Show. This month, we're really looking at perceptions. And the reason we're looking at perceptions is people often think that people with disability can't access computers or iPhones or any other digital technologies. However, they are our best friend. And it's a perception that people have. So I thought this month we really dig into perceptions a bit, perceptions about people with disability. Last week's guest was Mark Warren from First to Care. And as you understand, Mark is in an electric wheelchair and people have perceptions about Mark. This week, I've got another special guest. Peter Archer is a support worker. He's a support worker with a difference. And I'm really happy to have you on. Thanks, Peter, for being here.
Thank you very much, Narelle, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Peter, can you tell us a bit about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So I'm a community support worker. I also have a vision impairment myself. I have a condition called Stargardt's, which is a form of juvenile macular degeneration. I've been a support worker for getting close to 12 years now. And for the last 2 years, I've been running my own business, which I named Beyond Vision Community Access and Support, but for short, I call it Beyond Vision. And I primarily support those who are vision impaired and blind to access their community and connect with each other in a number of different ways, including tailored activities and events. So I'll do extensive research into what my participants are interested in, and then I'll see what activities and events I can sort of put together around those interests. I also do a home cooked meal delivery service. I do individual support, so anything from assisting people to get to appointments to just things that need to be done around the house to companionship, mentorship. And most recently, I just started running my Beyond Vision interactive themed Zoom groups. So I've been really sort of trying to get the word out there about these groups because I'm really wanting to connect with people, not just people with disabilities, but anybody who'd like to get involved, anybody who's feeling isolated, who wants to connect with others, who wants to be involved in something fun and engaging and educational, and it's something that's just easy to be a part of. So that's something I've been doing for the last month or so.
Yeah.
Before
And I
that,
must admit,
yeah, sorry.
I've got a friend that actually is involved with one of your interactive Zoom groups, and he really loves it. He gets the giggles when he tells us some things that happen. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's really well done.
Oh, he's an amazing person, as
He
you know,
is.
and really brings a lot of positive energy towards the groups. And
Mm,
yeah, just very grateful to have him in so many of my groups.
yeah.
And yeah, it's a great time we're having. Uh,
Peter, can you
yeah,
tell people what Stargardt's is for people that are not aware?
yeah. A lot of people sort of refer to it as like the opposite of retinal pigmentosis. So
Hmm.
I can't speak much about that, but for people who have it, I guess it's your central vision is a lot better than your peripheral. You're sort of seeing down these tunnels, so to speak. But with my vision, so my central vision's all distorted. So I'm seeing like black and white dots everywhere, like those old
Hmm.
static TVs,
No, okay, yep,
showing
yep.
my age by talking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just can't
So,
make out people's eyes or read small print without a magnifier. And I have about 4 or 5 meters of usable vision
yeah.
until my sight starts getting very, very
Mm.
blurry. But I can confidently get around, and it's not so much of a hindrance to me now. It's just frustrating every now and again, which I'm sure a lot of people can speak to who have vision impairments or who are blind.
Yeah. Steve, as we mentioned at the start, we're talking perceptions. And I think one of the, Steve, I'm sorry,
You
I'll
can call me
cut that.
Steve. It's okay. It's a good
No, I
name.
can't. It is a good name. He's a good bloke. I'll cut that bit. Peter, as
Yeah.
we mentioned, as I mentioned at the start, we're talking perceptions. And one of the things I notice is the perceptions of others create the barriers for people with disability. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts?
I think so. I think that people have a general idea about people who are vision impaired or who are blind, and having that general idea means that you form an opinion of somebody or something before really you get the chance to to experience that that person is an individual. And although
Mm,
they are vision impaired, one vision impaired person to the next, any kind of disability, I mean, we all handle it differently, and
mm,
there's no exact case. So by
mm,
somebody looking at me and saying, "Oh, he's vision impaired. How can he possibly do support work?" That can get a bit frustrating, and that's a perception that can be, quite damaging. But
yeah.
I'm sure on the other hand, there can be, positive perceptions too. I mean, uh, as vision impaired and blind people, we you know, we're very agile. We want to live a full life, and we want to do, whatever it is we want to do in life. So we find ways to do that, whether that's with digital accessibility or just willpower. I find a lot of people I support have amazing willpower,
Mm.
which I would consider a positive perception.
I think the other thing, and particularly when I'm thinking of people that you support that I actually know, they are tremendous problem solvers as well.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. They look at the outside, they make that assumption
Mm,
based on their beliefs.
mm,
But when you sit there and think about what these people do, and this one guy in particular, he surfs, he swims, he
mm.
runs, he's actually he's a very fit guy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the two of them are in different ways. But the perception is that they have to have people do everything for them.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is, that's almost debilitating, because it's really the ethos of the NDIS, right?
Mm.
They want to see people building skills and striving towards being independent. And you may think that you're helping at first by doing as much as you can for that person, but in support work, I mean, we have to be very careful about this because, we're not always going to be there in this person's life. So maybe, yeah, we're helping this person to do whatever it is, helping them put the clothes out in a line, and they can sit back whilst we do that, and we're doing the
Mm.
task, and it's getting done. It's working towards, helping out the family. But what if, as a support worker, you stopped working with that person? What if they relocated or whatever it is? Then they're left with no skill. They're back to square one. So I think it's something that we have to be mindful of.
Yeah. When you take on a new client, how do you manage your perceptions and your beliefs with that client?
Um, I try to, like, I guess in certain instances, when you're taking on a new client, you're speaking to another support worker who may have worked with that person, and they
Mhm.
have a perception of that client, and they might tell you, "Oh, so and so can get a bit grumpy sometimes, so when that happens, you might want to do this." And I always found that that didn't really work to my advantage. Like it was nice to get a general idea, but
Yeah.
it also put this I guess perception in my head of who this person was, that they might not actually be like that person. So I like to make my own perceptions,
Yeah.
and when I meet the person, of course I'll look into their condition so I know what I'm getting myself into. But really, it's just like a meet and greet, and is sort of feeling your way around, and again, just building your rapport with that person, and trying to really not take any more information in, and just be there and build that rapport, and try and make that a natural process, and not be influenced by outside, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
outside things.
And the hard part must be in some ways, say, again, like a support worker that doesn't have a disability might be thinking again, or someone new to the support work, or they've got a vision impairment, they can't see. Whereas, like for me, I see shapes. For you, you can read larger print. We're very capable people.
Mm.
We both use digital accessibility, assistive technology tools.
Yeah, yeah.
I use screen readers. You're using magnifiers on your computer. The tools are there that we use.
Mm.
So how do we, as individual people, with these skills and with this knowledge, break down the perceptions of others?
Mm. That's a that's a good question. So I sort of saying, like, with the use of assistive technology, how would that work towards breaking down the
Yeah,
perception?
yeah,
Well, I guess if people were to see just how capable, say we're talking about a vision impaired or blind person,
mm,
you know, just watching somebody who's been trained in using their iPhone, and how they can get around, how they can read messages, and how they can get to, pretty much anywhere they want to get to on the internet. That's an amazing thing, and they can do it faster than someone who is sighted in lots of different, in many cases. And a lot of the time they've really upped the speech rate, so it sounds like, I often call it a chipmunk, but they're able to understand every word. So just seeing that alone, I would think that would sort of break the perception of someone who hasn't really had much experience in the blind and low vision community.
yeah,
And apart from that, I mean, you know, someone that I support, who you also know, is using a wonderful technology like cochlear implants, which,
yes,
that technology, that's just amazing, because
yeah,
it is training itself. It is training itself to learn what different sounds are in its environment. And it's like, the way it was described to me was that, at the very start, it sounds like it's very robotic, and everything sort of sounds very similar, like a robot's voice. And then
mm,
slowly, it starts becoming more human. Things become more, you can identify what those sounds are a lot better. You're hearing things that you've never heard before.
mm.
And that's just to see something like that too. Man, that would really break my perception if I had no
Yeah,
experience of that kind of thing.
yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I know for me, when I even, because I do some of my own shopping, obviously there's things I can't find. If you're looking at this huge grocery shelf,
Mm,
shelf full of groceries in the IGA or the Woolies or whatever, I've learnt ways that I do it. And people have said, "Well, what are you doing?" I say, "Well, I'm finding the product that I want because I've got the tools on my phone
mm,
to do it." So we can be independent. And it's even the same for a person with an intellectual impairment, or I've got a cousin with an intellectual impairment. I
mm,
think she's wonderful. And she is the most fairly independent person out there. And however, she can come across as grumpy because she can be quite abrupt.
mm,
And what people don't realize is if you've got an intellectual impairment, you're autistic on the spectrum, there's so many reasons why people can be abrupt or don't look at you square in the face. There's tons of reasons.
mm.
And I think that's part of what people have to think about when they meet a new person. Why can't that person look at you squarely in the face?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because, like you've got to have your head in a different position to see them.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. And I guess when you're looking at people who have intellectual impairments, or have autism, I mean, I've was in a fortunate position recently to have started working with a few more people who have autism. Some of them have vision impairments, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
and it's a condition that I've been trying to learn about, very quickly, so
Mm,
I can become effective at my role. And I fell into the trap of thinking, oh, this person's actually quite rude. They're not answering my questions.
yep.
They're not asking me any questions.
Mm,
But that I guess that can just be part of the condition. And as I started supporting this particular person, I saw that they were connecting with me on another level. It wasn't that
mm,
they were being rude. It's just that the way that they perceive their world is different to how I perceive it. So every now and
yeah.
again, this person would turn to me and just pick up something that I actually missed. So they would say something like, "Oh, did you see that? That beautiful butterfly that just flew
Mm.
across us?" And so they're very much there. They're very much in the world, but again, perceptions is can differ a little bit, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I know. I used to fall into that trap. I've got two sons with autism,
Yeah.
and I had to always remember, give them one instruction when they were younger. It's like you gave them two, the first one was forgotten.
Mm,
Immediately they would do the
mm,
second, they would never do the first. And
yes.
you really had to break things down. Pick your shirts up,
Mm,
put your shirts in the dirty clothes basket. Two separate instructions. And they had to learn how to manage that, but they've
mm.
got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and that actual that direct way of speaking was difficult for me because I felt
Mm,
like I was being rude. But
yeah,
like you said, it's what you have to do because too much information, it's just they're gonna miss something, and yeah, it
yeah,
probably won't work out to the best way, I guess.
yeah. That's it. One of the other things I find really interesting is like NDIS documents. A lot of documents we as people with disability get are very, very full of information.
Mm,
And
mm.
they can be really overwhelming when you're having to listen to it, or in your case, you're using magnifiers. How do you handle that?
Ugh, I don't read every single word, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Maybe there's some suggestions that you would have that you could use digital accessibility in some way to
Mm,
get to the information faster. But I'll have a quick read, but I'll usually ask somebody to assist me. What is this document all about? Because
mm,
I guess that's just the way that I manage. Like I always tell my wife if anything breaks in the household or anything like that, I'm not the guy to fix it, but I'm the person to find out who can fix it, who can do that
yeah,
job. And I guess that's what I do. I sort of outsource because I just don't have enough. I don't want to blow smoke or anything like that, but I don't have
mm,
enough time. I'm trying to run my business the best I can, and then also
yeah,
everything that happens with running a family, having children, and that whole
yeah,
thing. So
yeah. And that's
yeah,
right. You are a dad as well, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, which is lovely. I think for me, I am so reliant on documents being accessible that screen readers can read them.
Mm,
And I can do anything as long as the screen reader can read it.
mm, mm.
If a screen reader can't read it, I can't do it. And that's where I have to pay people to do it. And I think that's like even business cards.
Yeah.
People hand you business cards and you think, yeah, I can't read it. I've got to pay someone to read it. And it comes back into perceptions.
Mm,
It's an interesting subject that we could talk about for quite a while.
yeah.
And one of the things I'm thinking about is, Peter, what advice could you give people as a takeaway in regards to perceptions and beliefs and people with disability?
Well, it's like it's almost like a cliche, right? But it's so true. Just don't judge a book by its cover, and
Mm,
approach uh, any um, opportunity where you get to meet somebody with a disability or support somebody with a disability, approach it in the most humble way possible. Because you may have read a little bit about the condition, but that's just one thing. Someone's vision impairment might not even be their primary condition. Maybe it is an intellectual impairment as well. Maybe it's autism, or maybe they've got an eccentric personality or a difficult personality, or whatever it might be. Go into that situation and use it as a learning opportunity. And really, I find in my experience, if you're showing an interest in somebody and you really want to find out different things about their lives, what they're interested in, how they, whatever it is, just showing interest in what they value, then you're gonna end up building a rapport, and you're gonna find out a lot more about them, and that connection and that support is just going to be so much more effective when every time. So that's
Yeah.
the advice I'd give.
I think one of the other things that I don't think you said about yourself is you treat people as if well, we are people first. The disability is part of us. It is not our whole. And that's the way you treat people. And
Yeah,
I've heard that anecdotally from so many people, Peter. You don't look at the person as a disability. They're a person first, disability second.
absolutely. And I may have been a support worker for 10 plus years, but I'm not the expert in somebody's life,
Mm.
and I'm certainly not perfect or better than anybody. And I every time I speak to somebody, I that's what I would like to get across, that you and I, uh, we're the same, and we're on the same level, and you may have your own experiences and whatever it is that have made you the person you are, and the reasons why you're so good at these things, but we're still no none of us are perfect, and we're all just trying our best to live the best lives we can.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Peter, how can people get in contact with you to find out more about how you're running your business if this person with disability wanting to start their own business, and how you even set up your programs, anything, even about the programs that you run, because as I said, I do know the Zoom ones are pretty popular.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a few different ways. So you can contact me directly by email, which is Peter_Archer, ARCHER _Beyond Vision, BEYONDVISION @outlook.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, where you'll find Narelle as well, with her amazing Facebook group, Blind Ones. Thank you so much for allowing me to post on that. So to find me, you type in Peter Archer Beyond Vision, one word. And I also have a website, which is www.peterarcherbeyondvision.com, where you'll find everything that I've done in the past. I have a whole list of outings that I've put together for the last 10 years, all across Brisbane, that you can have a look at. There's pricing there, everything. If you're concerned about how much money you have in your plan, you could have a look at, one of those outings and say, oh yeah, I would like to go to Montville Chocolate Factory, and this is how much it's going to cost me for the whole
Mm.
day. If I do it as a group activity, that's going to be even cheaper. That might be something worth looking into. And yeah, just reach out, because I'm going to get back to you. I'm not one of those giant businesses where you're not going to hear back from me. I'm a one-man show, and I will get back to you as soon as I can with as much information as I can. And feel free to ask me anything, whether it's how I've been running a business as a vision impaired person, or whatever questions you might have. I'm more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. And I think that's what people need to remember. People with disability do run businesses. People
Yeah.
with hearing impairment, people that are autistic, cognitive issues, short-term memory, arthritic, doesn't matter what it is. People in wheelchairs, look at
Mm.
Dylan Alcott.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
we're all out there, we're running businesses, we're living our lives just like everyone, and we are people first,
Mm.
disability second. So, look, thank you, Peter. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you
Now,
so much for having me.
if you want to find out more about the Digital Access Show, please contact us. We have, obviously, we're on YouTube, we're on Amazon, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. Like, subscribe, share, review, Google review. And we've had some amazing guests last year. And this year we've started off with two really interesting people that are doing different things, both with disability, and disability doesn't let them, it's not a barrier for them. So it's an important thing. If you've got
It,
a perception about people based on beliefs, check the beliefs, because your beliefs may be creating your barriers. I'm Narelle, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
There, guys.